Master Anti-Terrorism Specialist Dixon Osaji. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming.
This has been a recurrent problem. Zamfara State still reeling from the effects of banditry and similar crimes. But what are your thoughts on the helplessness before Governor Dauda Lawal right now?
Amazing, you know. Zamfara State has been suffering from this bit of insecurity for a long while. And, you know, I listened to him yesterday when he was addressing the press. I think he's frustrated. You know, one thing about leadership is that if you can't get things right, you tend to be frustrated. But I advise you not to be frustrated because security is achievable. That is one thing I want to let him know today. It's achievable. And Zamfara State is approximately about 4 million people within that given state. It's not the largest state in Nigeria. And also, he said these guys have taken over the territory. For me, I will advise that the governor should start looking at you know, talking to his people, you know, as well, talking to the political leaders. It's not about military. You know, sometimes people have that wrong notion that when you bring in the military, things will go well, everything will go well. No, it won't do that because projecting military in conflict zone areas doesn't result to peace. It could, you know, eliminate that threat, but it will not bring them to a state of peace. They could be in a state of negative peace. That means at any given time an incident can still spring up. So for me, the governor should take it easy, one. Secondly, he should also start looking at, you know, spending, you know, security funds properly. Because most times we centralize our problem. When an incident happens, they run to Abuja. They run to Abuja. And the reason why they run to Abuja, I have not been able to ascertain, possibly, maybe because they don't have that powers to, you know, give military directives. But it should leave the military behind. We have police. The Nigerian police are solely responsible for internal security duties, and they should give the police an opportunity to try and fail.
The police is still under the federal government. Possibly that's why he went to the federal government for help.
Yeah, he's demanding for military. Why is he demanding for military? See, Theophilus, the military, we fail to understand that they are our last hope of defense. They are our last resort. You know, they shouldn't be projected in any given situation. That is why these guys, these bandits, these terrorists, they no longer fear our military because we've exposed them to unreasonable threats. You know, in the early days, if you get an information or perhaps perceive that the military are coming to a crime-prone area, before the military gets there, those guys will disappear. But now they even take the fight back to our military base. Why? Because they've seen our military. They've seen all about our military. They've seen their strength. They've seen their weakness. They've seen their capability and capacity. So for me, let's build a formidable policing system that will, you know, carry out all architectural approach, surveillance approach, technological approach, you know, crime and management approach. Because I was watching a movie some while ago and a crime took place. You know what happened? There was an area pursuit. There was land pursuits. But here we don't go after criminals. We allow them to go to their renters bus and relax and start asking for billions of naira after commissioning crime.
So you earlier mentioned about the fact that the governor needs to talk to his people.
Oh, yeah.
About what exactly? They carry arms, or what do you think he should talk to them about?
We have a president that was from the north, President Muhammadu Buhari, 8 good years. And so sad, after his 8 years administration, the state of insecurity in the north got worsened, got worse, because he might want to say he successfully decimated Boko Haram. I would not believe that notion because, for me, I think that the decimation of Boko Haram was tactical in the area of Operation Safe Corridor. Right. Because when you pardon these guys, we don't have the database to even follow them up. You know, sometimes in foreign country, if you are granted parole or maybe you are being placed on house arrest, these police guys will monitor you, monitor your character, monitor if truly you've changed. But most of these repentant militants or repentant terrorists we've classified as repentant. Do we have any structure in place to check them, to see what they're doing? Where are they presently? Can we, identify their present location? What are they doing? Are they into businesses or whatever? Or they've gone back to banditry? That is why when Boko Haram dropped, banditry, escalated. Because most of these guys, they've seen that, hey, we don't need to keep fighting and believe that we're going to go to heaven and meet some virgins. Let's just enjoy ourselves here on earth. And that's why they've commercialized terrorism. Pick Nigerian students, 200 in mass numbers, and you begin to ask for money. So for me, I still repeat, We have a formidable policing system. Let us build the capacity of our policing system. Theophilus, as it stands, we are not preparing for war. Because any given nation must prepare for war.
In times of peace.
Yes, in times of peace. Because the best time to prepare for war is the time of peace. Just imagine how Boko Haram took us by surprise. Imagine how banditry took us by surprise. Where are we now? Where are we going to? Our soldiers are dying every day. Officers and men being killed like chicken. Look at what happened in Oklahoma and other places. Are they trained to die so cheap? So we have a lot to do. Because if the governor is crying for military, the military never created that mess. Those who created the mess should be talked to. Who are the sponsors of these guys? How did they get these arms? Where did they get it from? How? So, it's a disturbing
There is
situation.
also the issue of the caliber of arms that these bandits carry, as against, the police officers that you are advocating for. From us here, at least for us here on this side, and many observers, they say the police is overstretched, and they themselves have said as much. And now with the federal government and state governors now agreeing to some form of state policing, community policing and all that, even though the modalities have not been released yet, it hasn't been implemented. But what are your thoughts? There is some form of community policing system in Zamfara state, but only recently we saw how they too fell to the bullet, to the overriding powers of the bandits. So what are your thoughts in how this can be the solution to the problem?
Fantastic question. Security is systematic, and that is why we need to understand. And first of all, what is happening about Zamfara State now, the governor of Zamfara State needs to carry out a threat perception analysis. You understand? You rightly talked about these guys having superior arms or firepower to the local security agent, but I don't think there's any security force, any criminal force, criminal enterprise within Nigeria that has,
should be.
Yes, or that has more superior power than our security agent or our military. And look at training, for example. Do you know how long it takes to train a police officer? Do you know how long it takes to train a soldier? Do you know how long it takes to train an army officer? Training is very important. So you can't have people well trained, and those that are untrained are decimating those that are well trained. That tells you there is an operational error. What are the operational errors? What is the operational error here? One of the operational errors you have identified within the policing and military system is mismanagement of their men, officers and men. Because take, for example, you are sending a soldier to a front line. Before I respond to this, I saw a friend of mine. He posted on Facebook last week. He was my colleague in the Arm Up division. He said he has been in the front line for 4 years. Praise be to God. And I replied, why would the military leave you in the front line for 4 good years? That means someone who got an admission into University of Lagos 4 years ago, a soldier is still fighting in the front line, fighting an enemy he never created. So that is an operational error in its own, and it's also demoralizing because these soldiers don't know when they're going home. When you don't know when you're going home, you're not going to put all your fight. Because if you know when you're going, for example, now, you are here today, possibly by 5 o'clock, maybe you are gone home, You're going to work all hard. But somebody say you are here, maybe you don't know, maybe you'll be closing by next week or next month. I think it's going to demoralize you a little bit. So that's why we need to set timing for our officers and men. Each time they go for any operation in any given area, let's not just go and dump them there. Because what's happening in Nigeria, our military are dumping our officers and men in a particular area and just leave them there for 3-4 years. Operational error. That is going to weaken their capability and capacity. Then also we should start looking at manpower as well. What is taking us so long to build more strength? Strength in numbers. Are you with me? Because if you have the equipment, you have the processes, you have the manpower. If you don't have the men or the officers and men to cover that given area, you keep on suffering from this criminal element. So the governor of Zamfara State should understand that the state is in danger, and then we should start looking at carrying out some assessment and know what to do and how to resolve the issue.